On April 27, 2020, the Pentagon officially released 3 short videos showing unidentified aerial phenomena. Along with the videos, the Pentagon released a statement that read, "The Department of Defense has authorized the release of 3 unclassified Navy videos, one taken in November 2004 and the other 2 in January 2015, which have been circulating in the public domain after unauthorized releases in 2007 and 2017. The U.S. Navy previously acknowledged that these videos circulating in the public domain were indeed Navy videos. After a thorough review, the department has determined that the authorized release of these unclassified videos does not reveal any sensitive capabilities or systems, and does not impinge on any subsequent investigations of military airspace incursions by unidentified aerial phenomena. DoD is releasing the videos in order to clear up any misconceptions by the public on whether or not the footage that has been circulating was real, or whether or not there is more to the videos. The aerial phenomena observed in the videos remain characterized as unidentified. As stated in the press release, these videos have been in the public domain for a few years, but some people might find this information new or not know any details surrounding these videos and their release. So in this video, we will answer the following questions. What were the events surrounding when these unidentified aerial phenomena were filmed? How did these videos get into the public domain initially? What do people think these unidentified aerial phenomena are? And why is this Pentagon release significant?
This video is perhaps the clearest images yet of a UFO in the skies above Earth. The video was taken from U.S. warplanes using an infrared camera.
That is on us, dude. Well, if there's like
The U.S. military has, for the first time ever, officially released several videos of unidentified flying objects.
They were filmed by some Navy pilots for the last 2 decades, and the Pentagon says that these videos are being released now to, quote, clear up any misconceptions after they were previously leaked, but that the objects remain unidentified.
Reid, former senator of Nevada, home to the infamous Area 51, tweeting, "I'm glad the Pentagon is finally releasing this footage, but it only scratches the surface of research and materials available." The videos were previously leaked by a private company founded by Blink-182 rocker Tom DeLonge.
Pentagon says it is now officially released these videos to clear up any confusion about whether they are real or they're fake. As for what those objects are, still a mystery.
The earliest of the 3 videos was recorded off the coast of Baja California during the week of November 10, 2004, and involved the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group. A carrier strike group is an operational formation of the United States Navy. It is composed of roughly 7,500 personnel, an aircraft carrier, at least 1 cruiser, a destroyer squadron, and a carrier air wing of multiple planes. A carrier strike group also on occasion includes submarines, attached logistics ships, and a supply ship. The Nimitz Carrier Strike Group consisted of the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier, the USS Princeton cruiser, the USS Chaffee destroyer, and the USS Higgins destroyer, as well as multiple different air wings, or squadrons of different types of aircraft which deploy aboard aircraft carriers. In November of 2004, the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was running routine training exercises off the coast of Baja California in preparation for deployment to the Middle East. The USS Princeton's role in the Carrier Strike Group was air defense protection. One could say that the USS Nimitz Carrier was the landing strip, and the USS Princeton cruiser was the air traffic control tower. The USS Princeton housed the Aegis Spy-1 radar system, created by Lockheed Martin, and is a Ticonderoga-class guided missile system. This radar system is able to search, track, and perform missile guidance for over 100 targets at the same time. According to publicly available information, the Spy-1 radar can detect a golf ball-sized target at ranges in excess of 100 miles, and a ballistic missile-sized target at ranges in excess of 190 miles. Basically, this radar system is designed to be able to locate and track hundreds of incoming high-speed targets and launch missiles to intercept in real time. By using the Spy-1 radar in congruence with other radar systems in the fleet and on aircraft, the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group is able to paint a picture of the entire airspace surrounding it for over 100 miles. In November of 2004, the Spy-1 radar was one of the most advanced radar systems in the world, if not the most advanced. Another piece of equipment we should familiarize ourselves with before going into the events of the encounter is Advanced Tracking Forward-Looking Infrared, or FLIR. FLIR is an optical, electric, and thermal imaging system that was developed for the U.S. Navy by Raytheon in the late 1990s, mainly for the detection and identification of tactical targets and the delivery of autonomous precision targeting to smart weapons. FLIR sensors are typically attached to targeting pods on the aircraft that the airman can control manually or that can be set to auto-track. In the mid-2000s, as well as today, FLIR systems were capable of detecting and tracking targets within a range of 40 nautical miles, and it is with this system that the first of the Navy UFO videos was captured. So that sets the stage for the first UFO encounter from the Navy video. One of the first people to encounter something strange was Senior Chief Kevin Day. Senior Chief Kevin Day was the Air Intercept Control Supervisor for the USS Princeton and had spent years working with the Spy-1 radar system. Captain J.L. Smith, the captain of the USS Princeton in 2004, would say about Kevin Day, "He is my #1 Senior Chief Petty Officer, a recognized expert in air defense. His impact within the Nimitz strike group has been phenomenal."
My name is Kevin Mark Day. I was an Operations Specialist Senior Chief, and my role on board the Princeton and for the strike group was an Air Intercept Control Supervisor. Now, I'm a top 10 graduated in 05 and 98, and I have hundreds of intercepts, in my record, and 7 deployments to the Middle East, 18 years Sytem on Aegis cruisers. Basically grew up with the spy radar. I was on board the Vincennes, which was his very first spy ship, and I was pretty much Aegis spy operator my entire career.
Starting on November 10th, 2004, Kevin Day began picking up unknown objects on the highly advanced radar. These objects would be stationary for hours, then would drop from 28,000 feet to a 20-foot hover in less than a second.
I started noticing these anomalous, we call them anomalous aerial vehicles, AAVs. And strangely enough, I didn't really notice anyone else noticing them, which kind of torqued me a little bit because that's what we're out there to do, find stuff. And if you don't know what something is, you should be trying to find out. So I kind of observed them for a while. And eventually everybody started talking about these things. All the Aegis cruisers and Aegis destroyers had contacts with their Spy-1 radars, as well as our cooperative engagement system, which basically takes all the radars from every source and integrates it into one picture. So I was pretty darn certain that these things were real, whatever we were seeing. And these things were going down, they were starting about 80,000 feet when I first saw them. And then they would suddenly just drop down in altitude in a matter of less than a second. I think I looked, when I did some data retraction on it, it was 0.78 seconds.
Those running the Spy-1 radar recalibrated the system to make sure that these were not false returns. Once recalibrated, these objects still remained. Spy Controlman Petty Officer 3rd Class Gary Voorhis was in charge of the Cooperative Engagement Capability, or CEC. The CEC allows for the sharing of radar, electronic data, and other sensor data across the entire strike group and accompanying aircraft.
At the time, I was Gary P. Voorhees, Fire Controlman 3rd Class. I was an Aegis computer technician and a CEC operator. I was on the USS Princeton, CG-59. My job was to load crypto and take care of the CEC machinery and all the mainframe computers that run Aegis, the Aegis weapon system. CEC's Cooperative Engagement Capability System. It uses a system just to converge all of our environmental data and our weapons data to be able to fire non-line of sight and to give us operational capabilities of all of our ships. I got a call from the spy guys, which there's an entirely different Aegis tech that runs the actual spy radar itself, and they said that they've got a bunch of clutter and that they need to take the system down to calibrate the system to try to get rid of the clutter, because they got basically invisible tracks that are coming up that can't be there. And so they're basically insane tracks. And so they took the entire system down. They calibrated everything, brought it back up, and the only thing it did was make the tracks more clear. So then at that point, they knew that they were actually tracking objects.
They continued tracking these objects for a few days. Then, on November 14th, 2004, a Navy squadron of F-18 Super Hornets called the Black Aces was scheduled to run a training exercise simulating an air-to-air dogfight. As the preparations were being made for these air exercises, the Princeton Spy-1 radar began picking up the anomalous objects again, with the highest quality tracking the system offered, roughly 60 miles away from the Nimitz.
Now, in the morning of November 14th, we're getting ready to kick off the air defense exercise, where we're going to launch all the aircraft off the carrier, do mock simulated engagements on the Striker with aircraft coming out of Miramar, San Diego. And I was concerned because we had these objects in the sky and we were getting ready to launch a bunch of aircraft, and at the very least they were potential hazard to air navigation. So when Captain Smith came down to combat, I was like, "Look, sir," and I kind of briefed him on what I was seeing and why I wanted to intercept them. And he said, "Go ahead, intercept them."
These objects were also picked up on the Nimitz radar, and on the radar from an E-2C Hawkeye that was also monitoring the surrounding airspace for the exercise. Since there were already planes scheduled to be airborne, and since these objects presented a potential risk to the safety of the aircrew, it was decided that an intercept would be made using the F-18 Super Hornets. There were two sets of flights to intercept this object, so let's clarify what has been said about the following events and by whom. An F-18 seats two people, a pilot and a Weapons Systems Officer, or WSO. The pilot is in charge of controlling the plane, and the WSO is in charge of the various radar, weapons, and defense systems. The first aircraft to receive orders to intercept these objects were a set of two F-18s, Fast Eagle 1 and Fast Eagle 2. The first F-18, Fast Eagle 1, was piloted by Commander David Fravor, who at the time of the event had 16 years of experience, 3,500 hours in the cockpit as a Navy fighter pilot, and graduated from the Navy's Top Gun program. Fast Eagle 1's WSO has not gone public at this point. The second plane that was part of this initial encounter was piloted by an anonymous female pilot who has made public statements about this encounter. The WSO for the second plane was Lieutenant Commander James Slate, who at the time of the event was a naval officer for 20 years, made 6 deployments, and has over 2,700 tactical jet aircraft hours of experience. Approximately 30 minutes after taking off, Fast Eagle 1 and Fast Eagle 2 headed towards their cap point for the exercise. Cap point refers to Combat Air Patrol Coordinates, basically a predetermined location for the planes to begin their exercises from. Fast Eagle 1 and Fast Eagle 2 were then redirected from their cap point towards their UFOs by the USS Princeton. Here we listen to Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate recount what happened when they arrived at the spot of the UFOs. Animations come from Dave Beaty's fantastic documentary, The Nimitz Encounters, which I recommend and which is linked in the description.
Well, we had launched on a routine training mission. When we joined up, we were told that the event was going to be canceled and that we had real-world tasking, and we were sent out to the west. Now, take in mind that this has taken place about 100 miles southwest of San Diego, between San Diego and Ensenada, Mexico, on a clear, perfect day, blue waters. We get out to the spot where they tell us it's at. We start looking around, and both airplanes see a disturbance in the water and a white 40-foot long tic-tac shaped object just hovering above the water.
We were out flying off of the Nimitz, just doing a standard training hop. We took a vector and headed east towards, heading towards Mexico or the San Diego area. As we approached and we're looking around, we actually noticed down below, just above the surface of the water, was really what's best described as a tic-tac.
Going forward, back, left, right, there's no rotor wash, there's no wings, nothing. So as we drive around in a clockwise flow, we get to about the 9 o'clock position, and I said, well, I'm going to go down and check it out, and the other jet is going to stay high. So as we go down, when we get to the 12 o'clock position, it starts to mirror us. So it's in a clockwise flow, and it's on the opposite side of the circle from us. And we continue this. It's in a climb, we're in a descent. We're getting a great look at it. This whole thing takes about probably up to 5 minutes from the time we show up. I get over to the 8 o'clock position. It's at about the 2 o'clock position, and I decide I'm going to go and see what it is, and it's about 2,000 feet below me. And I cut across the circle, and as I get within about a half mile of it, it rapidly accelerates to the south in about 2 seconds and disappears.
What would you estimate the speed?
Oh, well above supersonic. It like a bullet out of a gun, it took off.
So from what you know about aerodynamics, mechanics, physics, should this be possible, what you saw?
Not with the technology that we have today. Not at all.
The anonymous female pilot in Fast Eagle 2, now a high-ranking Navy officer, remembered being terrified watching as the more experienced pilot tried to intercept the strange craft. It was so unpredictable, high G, rapid velocity, rapid acceleration, so you're wondering, how can I possibly fight this, she said. Jim Slate would say, it was there, then it rifled off, out of sight in a split second. It was as if the object was shot out of a rifle. There was no gradual acceleration or spooling up, period. It just shot out of sight immediately. I have never seen anything like it before or since. No human could have withstood that kind of acceleration. The object that the pilots saw had no wings, no heat signatures, and were able to outperform our best aircraft and puzzle our best pilots who are on the forefront of aviation. It is important to remember that these pilots have millions of dollars and many years invested into their training and ability to identify aircraft from the cockpit, and they were all perplexed. After the Tic Tac shot off, Fast Eagle 1 and Fast Eagle 2 began to head towards their initial cap point. At this moment, the radar systems of the strike group detected that the objects were now at the cap point. Both the pilots and the radar operators were surprised because the cap point was a secret coordinate only shared on highly secured channels. However, Fast Eagle 1 and Fast Eagle 2 were unable to make contact with the Tic Tacs again and returned to the carrier. Upon returning to the ship, the flight crew interacted with the next crew that would be out flying and discussed what had just happened. Chad Underwood would become the pilot that filmed the infamous Tic Tac video, and he was a part of this second flight. In a print interview, he stated, "That day, Dave Fravor was landing at the same time I was getting my gear on, and we crossed paths just after he'd seen it. I told him, the Princeton, again which has got a really good sophisticated radar, is reporting that there's an object out there that they wanted us to see if we could find, and if we're able, track. We go out to where our designated training area is. We're not necessarily looking for something, but Princeton had a specific object they wanted us to hunt, for a lack of a better word, and all of a sudden, I got this blip on my radar. I was more concentrated on looking at the FLIR. It was inside of 20 miles. You're not going to see it with your own eyes until probably 10 miles, and then you're not going to be able to visually track it until you're probably inside of 5 miles, which is where Dave Fravor said that he saw it. So at that point, I didn't see anything with my eyeballs. I was more concerned with tracking it, making sure that the videotape was on so that I could bring something back to the ship, so that the intel folks could dissect whatever it was that I captured. This is when the infamous Tic Tac video was recorded by Chad Underwood using a FLIR targeting pod. He would continue to say, "The thing that stood out to me the most was how erratic it was behaving. And what I mean by erratic is that its changes in altitude, air, speed, and aspect were just unlike anything that I've ever encountered before flying against other air targets. It was just behaving in ways that aren't physically normal. That's what caught my eyes, because aircraft, whether they're manned or unmanned, still have to obey the laws of physics. They have to have some source of lift, some source of propulsion. The Tic Tac was not doing that. It was going from like 50,000 feet to, 100 feet in like seconds, which is not possible. Normally, you would see engines emitting a heat plume. This object was not doing that. The video shows a source of heat, but the normal signatures of an exhaust plume were not there. There was no sign of propulsion. Commander David Fravor states that the targeting pod was not able to get a clean lock on the object, so Chad began switching between different capture modes to obtain a radar lock, which explains the changes in image. This also indicates that the object was actively jamming radar, which, according to Fravor, is an act of war. In response to how the object seems to shoot off to the left at the end of the video, Fravor claims that this indicates high speeds and that the targeting pod should have been able to easily continue tracking it if it was a conventional aircraft. Chad Underwood, who filmed the Tic Tac video, stated that he did not maneuver his jet in any particular fashion that would make the shooting off to the left occur. Once the pilots returned to the ship, they said they were not given any type of debrief on the incident, and the event was written off as something no one could explain. Others on the ship were puzzled. Some thought this event would be on the news upon their return to San Diego, but to their surprise, no one seemed to care. According to the witnesses, after this November 14th encounter, the Tic Tac event stopped, and life in the strike group returned to normal with no other major encounters. There is a discrepancy among some of the radar operators and the pilots, with some of the radar operators claiming that guys in suits came aboard the Princeton and confiscated the radar data from this event. Commander David Fravor contests these claims, but the radar operators point out that Commander David Fravor was not privy to all information on the ship, and wasn't made aware of the Tic Tac's presence until his skills were needed to engage it. Regardless of this discrepancy, some things that these pilots, radar operators, and other witnesses who have come forward all agree on is this. There was a physical object. It was tracked on multiple different radar systems. It was seen visually. It had no wings, no heat signatures, and was able to perform in ways that defied our current understanding of physics. This event and the video largely went unnoticed for many years, until the Tic Tac video appeared on the internet in 2007. It first appeared on a website called Above Top Secret. Above Top Secret is a website started in 1998 by Simon Gray. It began as a collection of conspiracy-related pages. A small discussion forum was soon added, and over the years grew to include thousands of users. The site claims, "Here you'll find conspiracy discussion on every topic you can imagine, from UFOs to political scandals to paranormal phenomena." And in the early days of the internet, Above Top Secret was one of the best places to discuss UFOs online. On February 3rd, 2007, Above Top Secret user The Final Theory created a post titled "Observations of an Actual UFO," which read, "Hey everyone, I'm new to this site, though I've been reading it for some years now. I just recently decided to post up. I don't have any footage, sorry, but maybe my observations can help shine some light on all this UFO stuff. It all started in 2005, when I was on board and attached to a naval aircraft carrier. I don't want to post any keywords. Let's just say the ship is a West Coast ship. We were doing workups off the coast of Mexico. I work in the computer field, and am high enough ranked and trusted to access the top secret network on board. It was about 2300 when the ship went into a security alert. For those that don't know what that is, it's when nobody can move on the ship at all. If you do, you will be targeted as a threat and be taken out quickly by the master at arms. I was asking my fellow coworkers what was going on. Rumor was circling around in my department that there was a UFO above the ship. Of course, naturally, I didn't believe it and was like, screw you guys. Curiosity got to me though. I logged on to the top secret computer network. Note, I edited the name of the network out due to a suggestion, safety, and did a search of our file server drive for the most recent modified files. This scanned all users, regardless of rank. Nothing was hidden from me. I especially looked for new files and those that were modified around the time of the sighting. I found many videos and PowerPoint briefs, Navy standard, and written reports, and even message traffic that was being passed through our radio division. This was all there. I couldn't believe it at first, but then our ship called in the Air Force because even the captain didn't know what the hell was going on. I burnt all these files to a disk and stashed it somewhere. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore. I've forgotten where I put it. Though I think it might be out of state at a close relative's house. Ugh. Well, here's what the video was. It was taken directly from the cockpit camera of one of our ship's fighter pilot jets, F-18. I believe but cannot be sure it was in black and white and showed the altitude, the pilot's nickname, and the temperature on all those little critical stats. The UFO was floating extremely still in midair. This was 30,000 feet above the ground. It looked literally, and I mean literally, just like a disc. No stupid triangles or any gimmicky things like Independence Day or whatever. It looks exactly how the government wants you to not think it looks like. It's simply put, a disc. So it was floating. The fighter pilot tried to get numerous locks on the UFO, but every time the crosshairs tried to hone in, the crosshairs scaled back and forth. I don't know how to put it into words. Well, but I know what I saw. Crosshairs move in and move back out. It couldn't get a lock whatsoever. After about, I say, 10 seconds or so, the UFO started to move. It moves in ways that we have never seen before. It spontaneously moved in a half circle upward and paused once again. Then it suddenly teleported about 5 times all over the pilot's screen. The movement is instant and cannot be followed. It's simply put, is amazing and so fast the eyes can't see it. There was a bright light and suddenly it disappeared out of sight. The PowerPoints, though I cannot recall the details, had all sorts of sonar and sonic charts to it. There is a map of the area, and I know for a fact that all the names of the places were completely made up. Times and dates were in some weird code. In conclusion, this is all I have to contribute to the truth of UFOs. I read a lot of other posts and stories and can tell you firsthand that most of it, if not 90% of it, is bullshit. Though I don't have any above top secret credentials or background, but I am in the Navy and I do know what I had my hands on and what I saw. Many users began to doubt the Final Theory's claims. However, the next day he followed it up with a new post titled Fighter Jet UFO Footage, The Real Deal, which contained a link to the infamous Tic Tac video, and read, "As promised, this story is the real deal, so go on and make your own thoughts and decisions about this. The video you're about to see seems to be a FLIR HUD vision captured by one of the jets that were sent out to intercept the unknown object. The materials me and one other ATS member who wished to remain nameless, used for this analysis post were this video, an event log, and a PowerPoint presentation, but the information included in there has not been worked out yet. The files we have can be released on demand. Recall of an event log of a ship. This is the video here, and these are the events as they happened. Date, 14th of November, 2004. 2 interceptor fighters were directed to a certain location where an unknown object has been spotted at 160 at 40 nm, N3050.8, W11746.9. The fleet informed the intercepting jets that the object was moving at 100 kts at 25 kft ASL. The jets could not find any object at that location. While the jets were searching for the air contact, they spotted a large object in the water at 1430L. The pilot saw steam, smoke, churning around the object. The pilot described the object initially as resembling a downed airliner. He also stated it was much larger than a submarine. A jet descended down from 24,000 feet to gain a better view of the object in the water. The jet then spotted an air contact. It appeared to be a capsule-shaped, wingless, mobile, white, oblong pill-shaped, 25 to 30 feet in length, no visible markings and no glass, 5 nm west from the object in the water. The capsule passed under the jet at 4,000 feet at course 300. The jet turned to acquire the capsule. While the jet was descending and turning, the capsule began climbing and turned inside of the jet's turn radius. The pilot estimated that the capsule achieved 600 to 700 knots per second. The jet could not keep up with this rate of turn and gain of altitude by the capsule. The jet then lost visual on the capsule in haze. Last visual contact was at 14,000. Capsule heading due east. Neither of the 2 jets could retrieve radar lock or any other means of positive ID. The other jet was flying high cover and saw the engagement by the other jet. This jet confirms visual ID of the capsule and the other jet chasing it. Both jets lost contact in haze. The time has come for the truth to be revealed. There is a saying which goes like this: 3 things can't be hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the truth. The events described in the Final Theories post seem to be referencing the Nimitz UFO encounter. The video linked in this post was initially hosted by a German media company called Vision Unlimited, causing some to think it was a project of this German media company. However, above top secret users of the time say that the Final Theory had linked up with another user named Cometa to help get these files onto the internet. Apparently, Cometa had a friend who worked at Vision Unlimited and hosted it there. The owner of Vision Unlimited has stated that he has no knowledge of this video, and it was in no way a product of the company. Susan Go is a senior strategic planner for the Secretary of Defense Public Affairs Office, aka Pentagon spokesperson, and she is a recurring character in this story. Of the 2007 release of the UFO video, Susan Go stated, "With respect to the 2004 sighting by aircraft from the aircraft carrier USS Nimitz, that video was widely shared throughout the ship at the time. Given the time since recording, approximately 5 years, the widespread distribution of the recording within the ship at the time of recording, and the size of the crew at the time, approximately 5,000, it was determined that there was no way to accurately determine who might have released the video. To this day, it is still unclear who the Final Theory was, or how exactly they obtained this video. Though it would get buried under all the other content on Above Top Secret, the fact remains that in 2007, the video surrounding the Nimitz UFO event was now publicly available and accessible to anyone with an internet connection.